Through most of my life, I had pretty much a storybook childhood. I would consider, I looked back at my childhood and I thought I was so lucky. I had 2 parents that loved me. I'm so lucky that I went to the college I went to. I'm so lucky I met my husband there. And it was never luck. The Lord just loved me through all of that. And I always went by the kind of thinking, I'm so lucky that all of these things happened. And another situation was, I was like, it's crazy coincidence, small world, What a small world it is that my husband and I were both born in the same hospital in El Dorado, Arkansas in 1989. And then, we meet at Ouachita and we get married. That wasn't a coincidence, that was God's timing, that was God's plan. It was never my plan. And as much as I drug my heels and was not ready for the story that he was writing for me and my family, I had to be open to it, and it definitely happened to me. That moment came where I thought my luck, as I would have said, kind of ran out. My storybook childhood ended, and the Lord was there to hold me and comfort me when I needed him the most. So in 2017, I was pregnant with our second child, and my parents went through a very sudden divorce. And as an only child, it rocked my world pretty hard. And then soon after I had our son, my husband comes and tells me that he got a new job and we're gonna move to Texas. And as a postpartum mom of 2 little kids, I was not happy about that. My parents had just gotten divorced. It was another transition I was not mentally ready for. I was mad and I was angry. And so, of course, I'm going to follow my husband. So I say, okay, we'll move to Allen, Texas. And the Lord had bigger plans. The joke was on me because we moved to Melissa. And in 2017, Melissa looked a lot different than it does in 2024. And so when we moved to Melissa, I did not know one person. We had no family close by. I was very isolated. From the outside looking in, I looked fine to everybody else, but I actually fell in a deep depression. I was mad, angry. My marriage was not great. I resented my husband. I was still mourning the loss of my parents' marriage. And then I had 2 little kids, It should have been a very beautiful, happy time in my life, but all I could see was sadness and darkness. But the Lord saw my isolation and he saw my loneliness and he answered my prayers. So about a few weeks after we lived in Melissa, I met a girl who was my age, lived about 10 houses down, and lo and behold, she is from Hot Springs, Arkansas, the same hometown that I'm from. What are the odds? And it kind of went back to that, what a small world, what a coincidence, and it wasn't a coincidence. It was not a small world, it was God. God saw my pain and he knew I needed a friend, and that's exactly what he did. So fast forward to 2019, our lives are better. My marriage is strong as ever. We have 2 beautiful kids. We have our 3rd child, healthy baby boy, and our middle son, Cade, is struggling. We can't pinpoint what's going on with him. It's affecting my marriage. It's affecting my home life. I remember telling the Lord, why, Cade? Why did we do, what happened to Cade? What happened to my marriage? What happened to our life? This is not my plan. This is not my dream. And I look back, and the dream that the Lord has given Cade and the gifts he's given Cade, I could never have written that more beautifully, because Cade is perfect and the Lord gave him to us for a reason. He gave him to us because he knew that he wanted him to be ours and no one else's. So similar to the Lord's timing with Melissa and the similar situation with my son, I look back and I'm like, wow, the Lord loves me enough to place me in a community where I've never felt supported enough. We have friends that have truly become family. We have a wonderful congregation with our church. Our son is loved and supported. And when I was in that dense fog in that mourning period and just, I was being selfish. My plan did not work out the way I wanted, but now looking back, I'm so glad that God loves me enough to put me and my family where he did today. So I was sprinkled as an infant, and then I went through the confirmation process as an 8th grader through the Methodist Church. I've always known who God was. I had very supportive parents that were active in the church. I was very active in the church. I checked off all the boxes: Sunday school, mission trips, summer church camp, did everything that a young Christian should do. But my defining moment with my relationship with Christ was when I was 16 and I went to a weekend called Chrysalis with the Methodist Church, and that is when I fully gave my heart to the Lord. I never publicly proclaimed it, but when my 9-year-old daughter came to me and told me that she had accepted the Lord, I felt an urge of I just knew in my heart that the Lord was saying, Kathryn, this is the time. This is the time for you to tell everyone about my love. My name is Kathryn, and I've been made new by Jesus.